Hi there, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making sourdough discard pancakes. So first you're going to get you a bowl and you're going to add 200 grams of discard to your bowl. I am doubling this recipe, so if you don't need this many pancakes, you can half this and make less. I just made a big batch to freeze, so that's why there's so much. And then you're going to go in with 150 grams of butter, melted. And then you're going to add your milk, which is 400 grams. You're going to whisk that together, try to incorporate everything a little bit. Make sure all your wet ingredients are nice and mixed up. And then you're going to add 2 eggs. And you're going to whisk those into there as well and make sure they're nice and incorporated before we add the dry ingredients, because we want to make sure that there's not like weird chunks of egg or, the mucousy kind of clear pieces of egg that get not mixed in all the way. So you want to make sure it's all fully incorporated before you add the dry ingredients so that you don't overmix everything. And then you're going to keep mixing until it looks something like that. Then you're going to get your food scale out. I had pre-measured some of those things, so that's why they were already in there. You're going to add baking powder, and you're going to add 16 grams of baking powder. And if you'd like to, you can mix your dry ingredients in a separate bowl prior to adding it to this. That's totally optional. I chose not to. You don't have to. And then you're going to add 6 grams of salt. Here you can use iodized salt because we're not baking with it. We're just making pancakes. You're going to go in with 80 grams of sugar. I use cane sugar. You can use regular white sugar. I just like cane sugar best. Just a personal preference. And then you will add 400 grams of all-purpose flour. I use unbleached all-purpose flour. Again, that's just personal preference. You use whatever flour you prefer. So we'll add 400 grams of that. And I find with baking and just cooking in general, using a food scale, especially when you're measuring out like dry ingredients like flour, sugar, all that, it's really easier to use the scale because you get more accurate measurements every time. Whereas if you're scooping into a measuring cup, you're not always getting accurate measurements. So you may be off by 10 to 20 grams of an ingredient if you're not measuring accurately. And then here I'm making a personal choice. You don't have to do this, but I am adding in 50 grams of vanilla protein powder. I am making these protein pancakes for my son who recently started on some ADHD medication. And it's best for him if he has some protein in the morning before he takes his medication. So we're making him some protein pancakes to be able to have that before he goes to school. And then I always measure vanilla with my heart because you just can never measure that with a spoon. It's just not, it's sacrilegious. Then you're going to take it off the scale, mix this up. You don't want to overmix this because then you're going to have really chewy pancakes. And you want to have like a nice thick, pancake batter consistency like you would any other pancake batter. Sometimes it may need a little bit more milk if you added a little too much flour or something like that. Or, in this instance, with the added protein powder, I did afterwards have to add just like a splash more milk, but not much. And then I have my Blackstone electric indoor griddle here that I'm going to make these on so that I can make a whole bunch of them at once. And I'm going to make kind of mini pancakes for him so that they're grab and go since he's, younger. He's only 11, so smaller portions for him are easier. So I'm going to get all these on there. I did oil it with avocado oil, just with a spray bottle. You don't necessarily need to use avocado oil. You can use whatever fat you prefer. If you prefer to use butter, olive oil, coconut oil, tallow, Crisco, whatever is fine. It doesn't really matter. But I get these all ladled on there, um, and you'll brown them up on both sides. I do love this Blackstone, the electric Blackstone for indoors though, because it really makes making breakfast so much easier because you can make multiple pancakes, French toast. You can scramble up a whole bunch of eggs at one time, cook a whole pack of bacon or a whole pack of sausage all at one time in this thing. And you can control the temperature really easily, which I really love. It goes up to, I believe, up to 500 degrees. But it's really easy to adjust the temperature. It has a grease trap on the back as well. The lid comes off, so if you don't want the lid on there, you don't have to. I do use the lid whenever I'm making pancakes and French toast, and bacon and stuff, just to help. If I'm making like something greasy, it's to help eliminate some of the splatter. And B, if I'm making like something like the pancakes or something like that, it helps them to kind of puff up a little bit more and to cook all the way through quicker. So we just take those off and, get them on a little sheet pan to cool down. Since we're making batch pancakes ahead of time that we're going to freeze, we're going to put these on a sheet pan so that they can cool down for a little while before we freeze them for later use. And then get those put away. And then this is your finished product here. We ended up with about 45 pancakes, which will last my son a couple of weeks. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.